Most men chase desire, desperate to be seen, validated, and needed. They believe the path to influence and attraction lies in pleasing, giving, and bending themselves to the whims of others. Machiavelli, however, exposes the deeper truth. Desire is not captured by need. It is awakened by independence. The moment a man stops needing, stops seeking validation, and exists fully on his own terms, he becomes magnetic. Not because he tries harder, but because he no longer tries at all. This is the paradox of power in human relationships. Freedom is irresistible. 1. The power of not needing human psychology is instinctively drawn to scarcity and autonomy. There is an invisible law in human behavior. When someone appears dependent, even subtly, they signal vulnerability, desperation, and a lack of control. Neediness is a pressure point. It suffocates attraction and pushes people away without them even realizing why. Contrast this with a man who does not need it. His independence radiates an unspoken power. He does not seek validation or approval because his sense of self is complete. This self-sufficiency is magnetic. It is confidence distilled into presence. Machiavelli understood this principle centuries ago. The most feared and respected power is never reliant on others. It exists on its own terms, untethered, unshakable. In relationships, in business, in social hierarchies, people are instinctively drawn to those who operate outside the orbit of their approval. The man who does not need is rare, and rarity is inherently attractive. His attention is not a given, it is a privilege. His presence commands awareness, not because he demands it, but because it carries weight, because it is not disposable. Neediness repels, independence attracts. This is not about pretending to be aloof or emotionally detached. It is about cultivating a life so full, so self-contained, that your engagement with others is a choice, not a requirement. When your world does not revolve around anyone else, your attention becomes a luxury. And humans, designed to chase value, cannot resist what they cannot take for granted. 2. The magnetic force of self-sufficiency. A man who has mastered the art of himself, his emotions, his desires, his time. He does not chase attention. He does not fear absence. His life is complete without external validation. This is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. Machiavelli recognized that true power is rooted in self-sufficiency. When a man depends on no one, he becomes uncontrollable, irresistible, and enigmatic. Ordinary attention transforms into desire because desire thrives on what cannot be commanded or possessed. A self-sufficient man operates on a different plane. He is not swayed by fleeting approval or social pressure. His absence is not a crisis, it is a statement. His presence is not a given. It is a privilege. People feel drawn to him instinctively because humans are wired to pursue what feels rare, valuable, and unattainable. Practical manifestations of self-sufficiency. He cancels plans without hesitation. His time is his own. If others want him, they must earn it. His attention is not a commodity. It is a reward. He pursues goals relentlessly. Success for him is internal, not performative. He does not need applause or validation to feel accomplished. He communicates selectively. Every word, every interaction is intentional. Engagement is a choice, not a habit, creating intrigue and anticipation. In essence, a self-sufficient man is a gravitational force. People want to orbit him, drawn to his energy, his presence, his control. Yet, he answers to no one, bends to no one, and fears nothing. Independence is not just a trait, it is the ultimate magnetism. 3. The psychological mechanics behind desire. Machiavelli was a master of observing the invisible currents of human behavior. He understood that people are instinctively drawn to what challenges them, to what cannot be fully understood, to what resists control. A man who does not need anyone embodies this principle perfectly. He is untouchable, autonomous, and entirely self-directed. He is no one's puppet. And it is precisely this untouchability that triggers an unconscious competition. Others strive, often unknowingly, to earn his attention and approval. Desire, at its deepest level, is provoked by the tension between access and restraint. Step-by-step dynamics of creating desire. Presence without dependence. Show up, but never out of need. Let your attention be a rare and valuable commodity. Presence should feel like a gift, not an obligation. The subtle message is clear. Your world is full even without them, and yet they are allowed a glimpse. Engagement without submission. Speak, act, and contribute, but never as a response to expectation or fear of loss. Every interaction should feel deliberate, measured, and intentional. Gestures born of need are invisible. They weaken attraction. Gestures born of choice, however, ignite desire. Detach to attract. Withdraw when attention is not earned. Absence is invisible leverage. It forces others to evaluate what they truly value. By stepping back, you create reflection, anticipation, and the unspoken pull of curiosity. It is in your withdrawal that power reveals itself. The paradoxical truth that distance can intensify attraction far more than presence ever could. In essence, desire is a psychological game of tension and release. Those who cannot be possessed, who cannot be owned, and who cannot be predicted become the silent epicenter of attention. Machiavelli would argue that mastery over this dynamic is not just influence, it is authority over human longing itself. 4. The seduction of freedom. The most irresistible quality a man can possess is freedom. Not the flashy, performative kind, but a quiet, unshakable freedom that emanates from complete mastery over his own life. Machiavelli understood this instinctively. Humans are drawn to those who do not live for others because it signals, on a subconscious level, mastery over one's world. Freedom is not just a trait, it is a declaration of confidence, authority, and unchallengeable power. A man who embodies true freedom becomes magnetic. His energy is untouched by attempts to manipulate or control him. This resistance enhances his mystique. People, friends, colleagues, rivals, and potential partners feel drawn to him without understanding why. His choices, his time, and his attention carry weight precisely because they are not demanded. Every interaction becomes meaningful, every gesture deliberate. How freedom manifests in influence and desire, he attracts effortlessly. His independence signals that he is not desperate, needy, or submissive. This naturally triggers fascination and respect. Attempts to control him fail. Efforts to manipulate, pressure, or bind him only highlight his autonomy, enhancing the allure of his untouchable persona. Every interaction is intentional. His engagement is a gift, not an expectation. By making his presence conditional, he elevates his status from participant to prize. In essence, when a man does not need anyone, he becomes the standard, the benchmark, the prize. He does not chase, he commands attention simply by existing on his own terms. Desire, respect, and influence flow toward him naturally, as if drawn by an invisible gravitational force. Freedom, when wielded with quiet mastery, is the ultimate form of seduction. 5. Mastery through detachment. Detachment is often misunderstood as coldness or indifference. In reality, it is strategic presence, a deliberate and conscious control over your engagement with the world. Machiavelli observed that the most powerful individuals are those who understand timing, perception, and leverage. They do not bend to the whims of others. Instead, they orchestrate influence with subtlety, patience, and authority. By cultivating a life that is independent of external validation, you create psychological leverage that is quietly irresistible. Steps to achieve mastery. Through detachment, center your life on personal goals, not external approval. Your ambitions and priorities should come from within. When your sense of purpose is self-generated, you no longer compete for attention, you command it. Treat your attention, energy, and time as valuable commodities. Every interaction becomes a transaction of choice. By making your presence earned, you establish scarcity, which amplifies your value. View relationships as privileges, not necessities. Approach connections as deliberate choices rather than obligations. When you engage voluntarily, others subconsciously elevate your worth. The paradox is profound. The more you detach from the need for approval, validation, or desire, the more attention and admiration you naturally command. This is not manipulation. It is a psychological law rooted in human behavior and sharpened through self-mastery. Detachment transforms ordinary interactions into silent influence, and ordinary presence into magnetic authority. Human desire follows a simple, immutable law. Everyone wants what they cannot have. And nothing is more untouchable, more magnetic, more compelling than a man who does not need anyone. Machiavelli's timeless lesson echoes through the centuries. True power is not found in pursuit, negotiation, or pleading. It is found in existence on your own terms. Desire is never earned through effort. It is commanded through independence. When you embody self-sufficiency, confidence, and internal authority, the world responds automatically. Respect, attraction, and curiosity are drawn to you like iron to a magnet. Your presence becomes significant not because you demand it, but because it carries undeniable weight. You do not chase attention, you inspire it simply by being complete. The invisible law is clear. The stronger your autonomy, the greater the pull you exert. Most men squander their energy in the futile act of begging to be wanted, chasing approval, or bending themselves to the whims of others. The truly powerful man understands the secret. Irresistibility is rooted in completeness. He does not rely on others to validate him, nor does he compromise his independence to capture attention. Stop needing, stop chasing. Construct a life so full, so rich, and so independent that desire is drawn to you naturally, wherever you go. Only then will you internalize the ultimate Machiavellian truth. Everybody wants you, precisely because you don't need anyone. Independence is not just a trait. It is the ultimate form of influence, the invisible force that transforms presence into power and existence into command.